Now, the other day we were looking at problems like this, where we distributed, and depending on how you wanted to distribute, there was a couple ways you could have done this. So you can just do 2x times 3x, and you remember that you multiply the coefficients, and then you add the exponents, and then you're going to do 2x times 2, and that gives you 4x. And then we have to do a similar kind of thing here, so we distribute, or you could have set up a box where you have 5, and then 3x plus 2, and then you would get 15x. And then the 5 times the 2 gives you 10, so plus 10. Oh, I forgot my x. All right. And then hopefully you saw that these two are like terms because they're both x's. So you can add those two together. You add them by adding their coefficients. So you do the 4 plus the 15. So when we do 4 plus 15, that gives us 19x. And then we keep the 6x squared. The 19 was positive, so I'm going to put a plus there. And then we keep the positive 10. So then that became our answer. Now, if you look back at the beginning, notice these two are the exact same thing. And we had that a lot the other day on your assignment. So there's a second way that we can write this original problem. I could also write this as take the 2x and the plus 5, and I want to multiply that by the 3x plus 2. So what you're essentially doing is you're taking this term and you're multiplying it by this whole set of parentheses, and then you're taking this term and multiplying it by this whole set of parentheses. Okay? Now there's a couple different ways that we can go about looking at like this. So if I give you another one, so if I do 3x plus 4 times x minus 1. Okay? Now we could just start with our rainbows, but you have to make sure that you get all the different ones. So this 3x needs to go to both of these terms in the second set of parentheses. And this 4 needs to multiply to both of these terms in the second set of parentheses. Okay? Now we have a phrase that we can help us to remember that. It's called FOIL. So the F stands for first. The O stands for outside. The I stands for inside. And the L stands for last. So when we look at the firsts would be this blue one because they're the first term in both spots. So we're thinking the 3x times by the x, which is 3x squared. The outsides would be the terms that are on the outside of your parentheses. So the outside is this 3x and this negative 1. So our O would be the outside. So we do 3x times negative 1, which is negative 3x. The I would be the insides, which would be these two because they're on the inside. So you do 4 times x, which is 4x. And then the last ones, you do the last in each set of parentheses. So our last one in each set of the parentheses is the 4 and the negative 1. So 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Okay? So that's how we get the FOIL. Okay? So then we would just add our like terms or combine our like terms when we're done. So we have the negative 3x and the 4x, which gives us just x. We keep the 3x squared. The x was positive, so I'm going to put a plus. And then the negative 4 stays. And then this is our final answer. Now, just like we did the other day, we have where you can set this up in a box. So if I give you x plus 8 times x minus 5. Okay? Well, notice in this first one, we have 2 terms. In this second one, we also have 2 terms. So I'm going to make 2 rows and 2 columns. Okay? Now, it doesn't matter which one goes down the column and which one goes across on the rows. That doesn't matter. So here I can have this go down. So this will be x plus 8. And then this will be going across, so this will be x minus 5. So then we multiply in our boxes. So we do x times x gives us x squared. We do x times negative 5, that gives us negative 5x. We do 8 times x, that gives us 8x. And then we do 8 times negative 5, which gives us negative 40. Now, in our box, we can look for like terms. Now, frequently, but not always, frequently in your box, you look diagonally and those will be like terms. So notice here the 8x and the negative 5x are like terms. So then this gives us x squared right here. The 8x and the negative 5x gives us 3x. And then we have the negative 40. So then this becomes our answer. Now you could write this in a different order. You could say that this is 3x plus x squared minus 40, or you could have minus 40 plus x squared plus 3x. As long as the signs are the same in each one, it doesn't matter the order that you write it in. That's because of the commutative property of addition, right? So negative 40, negative 40, negative 40, positive x squared, positive x squared, positive x squared, positive 3x, positive 3x, positive 3x. So keep that in mind, that if you have the correct answer, it doesn't matter the order that you're giving it in. Now we call this one standard form. So if I ask you to write something in standard form, sometimes it's also called descending order. Okay. Then I would have to, this one would be the only correct one. When it's in descending order or standard form, you're looking at the exponents. So you start with the highest powered exponent first, so that's a 2, that's a 1, and then technically this is an x to the 0. Okay, so we went 2, 1, none. So we're in descending order because our exponents are going down. Okay. Now you do also have the option to do it as a vertical multiplication. So if I give you 2x plus 5 times by negative 3x plus 4, right? So we would set it up 2x plus 5, and we're going to multiply negative 3x plus 4, and we kind of do it like we did in elementary school with our larger numbers. So I'm going to do the 5 times the 4, that gives us 20, and then I'm going to do the 4 times the 2x, that gives us 8x. Okay. Then I'm going to take the negative 3x and times it by the 5, so that gives us negative 15x. And now notice, as I write this, instead of writing it right here, notice the 20 and the negative 15x are not like terms, so I'm going to put it here where it is a like term. So negative 15x, and then I need to do negative 3x times 2x, which is negative 6x squared. And then we add these two things together. So we get negative 6x squared, 8x times negative 15, or not times, sorry, we're adding. So if we do 8 plus a negative 15, remember that plus a negative is the same thing as subtracting, so you can also think of it as minus 15. So that gives us negative 7x and then plus 20 because there's really an unsaid 0 there. So then this becomes our answer. Okay. Now I don't care which way you do it, but I just need you to be able to multiply. Now these are called binomials. So you're doing a binomial times a binomial. Previously we had done a monomial times a binomial. But all of those ways are fine. So you can do where you do the FOIL. Oops, spelled properly. Or the rainbows is fine to call that as well. Then remember the F is first, so you do your firsts, your outsides, your insides, your lasts. Or you could set it up as a box. So we do 2x plus 5 and negative 3x plus 4, and then we multiply in each one. Again, it doesn't matter which goes across the top and which goes down the bottom because multiplication is commutative. So again, that won't make a difference. And then you combine your like terms. Right? So all of those get you to the same spot. I just need you to be able to do one of them. I don't care which way it is.